You're on.
Good morning. This is the Town of Tufton Borough Selectmen's meeting for Monday, February 26th. Call it to order, and we'll please stand in honor of America with the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Following the agenda, the first order of business is the opening of library septic bids. This is the item that appeared in the newspaper, and I'll read it into the record. Town of Tufton Borough Septic Replacement, Tufton Borough Free Library, request for proposal. This project will consist of reconstruction of a failed septic system in a new location at 221 Middle Road in the town of Tufton Borough. The State of New Hampshire Subsurface Approval for Construction is permit ECA 201-801-0309. All work to be reviewed and inspected by the town of Tufton Borough and the State of New Hampshire Septic Inspector. Sealed bids for the project shall be in by 11 a.m. on Friday, the 23rd, 2018. Any bids received after this time will not be accepted. The bids will be open at the Selectmen's meeting, February 26, 2018 at 9 a.m. All bids should be mailed to Town of Tufton Borough, P.O. Box 98, Center, Tufton Borough, New Hampshire 03816. The drawings and specifications are available at the town office for viewing. Any plans that you want to obtain can be purchased, or PDF versions are available. For information, please contact Jack Parsons at Town of Tufton Borough, town offices, 240 Middle Road, Center, Tufton Borough, 03816 659-4539, extension 15. There were 3 bids.
Do you want me to get you a letter opener? I don't even think you want to.
I'll let you open them. Bid number 1 dated February 22nd, Evans Brothers, Wolfboro. Total bid price, $20,430. Second bid, Stephen W. Hunter, Center, Tufton Borough, $19,800. Third bid, Gillum Excavating, Gillum, from Merrill Lake, $23,900. Fourth bid, Lehner Excavation, Lehner, Wolfboro Falls. Proposal $13,982. Any questions or comments?
So our low bid is from Lehner Excavating.
We're not awarding this today, though. Are we not waiting until
Correct.
because I didn't hear conditions in the RFP that would be subject to the meeting.
So are you saying that we're not going to award it subject to approval at town meeting, or?
I didn't hear anything in the RFP to that extent.
Right, all I did is read the
Right, yeah.
ad. What are your wishes?
Well, I suppose we
I think we award it subject to approval at town meeting.
I'm a little concerned that when, let's say it doesn't pass, or the library passes, and the other one becomes moot, does the contractor now expect that they're gonna build a septic system in the library package? I mean, I don't wanna get any confusion going out there, because whoever we award, or whoever the library trustees award the contract for the library is probably gonna assume they're building a septic system.
Well, I will give you my opinion, and I'm just going back to the conversation we had early on about getting bids, is the failed septic system needs to be replaced as soon as we can do it, and not wait on design of a library, going through that whole process. The siting of this has been done with consideration to where that new building would be, in a location that was identified in the conceptual drawing that was done for the addition as where the septic system would be. So, my thought is that we want to go ahead and get the septic system done as soon as we can get it done, and not wait until an addition to the library is designed and goes through that whole process, because it would be several months additional delay.
So you're saying we're gonna, let's assume for a moment the library passes.
Mhm.
So we've mooted the second warrant article, or the third warrant article for the septic system. That we then separate the septic system from whatever RFP goes out for the construction of the library. And we just go ahead with,
Right. Out of the money that's approved to do the addition to the library.
Do you want to be heard, sir?
You're putting the bidding process for the dirt portion of the library construction in a kind of an awkward situation by awarding Part A to one contractor and not to another contractor. The fact of the matter is, we're still gonna have to get out there and do a considerable amount of clearing and dirt work to do that septic system. Now, I understand that, I can understand your feelings, but even if it came to the point that we had to run a temporary line to a new system, because it's got, where the footings go for that addition are right out and the new septic system is behind. Personally, I'd be much happier to say, okay, well, we have, if you want to award the contract to subject to.
let's assume for a moment that both of them fail. What have we done then? We've awarded a contract that we can't fulfill.
Well, it's subject to approval at town meeting, so that's, I mean, it's a conditional award. So if it's not approved at town meeting, then it doesn't happen.
One of the reasons for getting this information is so we have this information for town meetings, so people
Right.
can make intelligent decisions.
No, I appreciate that. It's just, I mean, as Gordon said, breaking the project apart is maybe a little troublesome, but.
Yes.
And so, Bill, your issue is that, okay, we've gone through town meeting and now it's Thursday. We should start full force on getting a septic system in there so we don't have to pump it.
Return the plumbing system to the library to normal as quickly as we can.
You'll have your hand up.
Okay, thanks. I just had a question, because the way we did voting and the warrant articles,
Mhm.
the septic was only applicable if the library building didn't pass.
Right, because if the library
Wasn't
building
both.
addition article passes, that would be part of, would be included in the total project.
Is there any figure on the septic system portion of your library design?
No. Oh, yeah.
No.
I mean, we have we have 100, in our initial, like a better phrase, dirt work,
Mhm.
for $155,000, which
That's
includes the septic system.
Foundations and,
Yes, that
all of
includes
that.
the septic system.
yeah.
I have a question. Do we need to make a decision today on this? Can we table it till our next meeting?
Well, we're not gonna build it until after town meeting. I think we're gonna table it until then, but, yeah, I think I need to think about whether or not we want to award. I don't think, they're all local.
Yes.
I mean, Evans, Hunter, Gilman, Gillum, and Laner, so I don't think they're going anywhere. Yeah, let's have a chat next week about it, can we?
Sure.
That's fine.
I mean, I'm not trying to be obstructionist.
No,
I just wanna
no,
make sure
and I
that-
appreciate what, the point that Gordon brings up. But, my concern about saying, well, we'll just let it be, included as part of the, total package is designed and built as part of library expansion is, it further delays getting the plumbing system operational again.
One more thing, we had also discussed, and it might be interesting to talk to these 4 contractors. If the library is successful, that field could be constructed right away, because of course the field is beyond. Even if we end up with some sort of temporary pumping situation to get to that new field, so we could still go in and do all the footing work and the slab work. That might be something we can investigate as well, because we're anxious to get this in, as you well know, limited use of water, you can't really wash your hands, use hand cleaner all day. We're very anxious to get it done as well. But at the same time, it does, the overall bidding process for the dirt work and the kind of awkward
So
situation.
it's just the field that's in failure, not the tank and all the rest of it?
Well, that tank is gonna have to be replaced, because it goes, the tank and everything is right there,
Oh, okay.
and the field is off to the right, so it's,
This project is a whole new septic system.
that's correct.
So the tank invades the space that you're putting the new library on?
Yes, the old tank does.
The old,
Mhm.
so at some juncture, we're gonna be out without a septic system for a few days anyway.
Short of going out and building putting in the new
And
field,
two
putting the new
pipes.
tank operation, and then, as I
Yeah.
say, some sort of temporary pumping situation.
Okay. And yet you haven't settled on a contractor yet at the library?
Oh, heavens no.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to
Well-
table this?
I'll move we table it.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
One further question for you, Gordon. Following the route of waiting, or of taking a separate look at the septic system again as part of the library package, once it, once we're past town meeting, what sort of timetable do you see in terms of, from that point forward, being able to do the septic work?
We have the plan, you have a septic plan, it's just a question of getting out,
Exactly.
getting the bidding.
And we have bids.
And we have bids. The architect's gonna have to finish, do up all of their work. We're probably looking at about a 2-month window before we're ready to start doing something like that. As I say, the field could be built, the field could be operational. It's just a question of perhaps how we have to temporarily reroute the F1 to that field.
Right.
The
And
existing tank and all
and-
that is not in the footprint of the new building.
I'm sorry?
Just
The
not-
existing tank and all that is not in the footprint of the new building. The new tank for the new system is put outside of everything that's going to be constructed.
But the old tank is within the
And
footprint?
it is not.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
Okay.
No,
All right.
no, it's gravity feed out, the tank's out near the leaching field.
they pump it out near the leaching field now. The new tank for the new system is outside of everything. The line going to the leaching field and all that is outside of the footprint of the new building. And the new building process through Bowen and all that, it's bid. So the excavation is going to be bid. The excavation can be bid without the septic. The excavation can be bid just tying the new plumbing from the new part of the building into the existing septic tank, which would be the new one if the new system's installed. So these are two separate issues. You haven't got a price on the new septic built into that new building because it's bid
Right.
for all the work that has to be done, including new septic. So if the septic's installed based on this contract, they don't have to bid on it. It's a moot point.
Then if you're using Bowen to put the bids out, is that
Yes.
ultimately? So maybe you could just contact them and see if there's any issue with us awarding this to someone else.
I did that today.
Great, thanks.
I'll call for a motion,
You got a motion?
Yeah,
and we know what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's
to
table.
to table.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next item is kind of exigent. Karen? I have a note here from you. The amounts for the capital reserve fund and the capital donations fund in the library admission warrant article were transposed. You have corrected them on this copy of the final warrant. You need us to vote on the revised library warrant article and then sign the warrant article, correct?
Yes, please.
Everyone clear? I've read this. Is there a motion?
Should we read the revised
Yes.
article?
And that is Article 2, is it?
And then you saw I
Article
have it right in
4.
front of me.
Article 4? Is that the one you want read?
The
It's the
building
one
one.
on the library building.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,920,000 to renovate and expand the current library and to authorize the issuance of not more than $1,094,000 of bonds or notes in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA Chapter 33. To authorize the selectmen to issue and negotiate such bonds and notes and to determine the rate of interest therein and the maturity and the other terms thereof. Furthermore, to authorize the withdrawal of $416,000 from the existing library capital reserve fund and $410,000 from the library capital donations fund. The first payment on the bond or note shall not be made until the year 2019. 2/3 ballot vote required per RSA 33:8-a, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 201 and the Budget Committee 6-1. Any questions on what I've entered into the record?
No.
I need a motion.
I'll move that we sign that.
Sign the entire
Right,
warrant.
accept that warrant article language and sign the warrant.
I'll second that.
In discussion,
Go ahead.
just as the library's gonna have to revise their number at the town meeting,
Yes.
I think we're gonna have to revise our number as well, because we'll have accumulated interest going forward and have it, so we need to give an exact number, so
Yes.
I think both those numbers will end up being revised from before.
Yes, we can, and we can do that. We've done it in the past. Motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of signing this warrant, say aye.
Aye.
It passes 3-0.
And the original vote on that article will remain the same, right?
Yep.
Have we done everything perfunctory that we need to do, Karen?
I think I can write it up that way, as long as you all agree that it's to keep the same vote and approve the warrant.
Yes, we haven't.
Perfunctory. Nothing we do is perfunctory.
Yeah. Just pass that on to Karen, okay? Let's go for our public input. Thank you for waiting. Anything from the public?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you have the septic system as a warrant article that's separate. So if you go ahead and accept the bid, if you can do that now, why is it on the warrant? You
It
chose
would-
to put it on the warrant.
It would be subject to the vote of the warrant article. What we wanted to do is fix the cost so that when we're at the town meeting and we're debating that warrant article, we can be debating an actual cost, not a, let's build a septic system and nobody knows what it's gonna be.
We have an estimate in the article of, I believe it's $30,000.
$30,000.
Okay, and the bids came in substantially lower than that.
So
So
you can lower
as
that.
we discuss and vote on that article on the floor, we have a certain cost associated with it rather than the estimate, which is lower than what the estimate is, which works well.
But now it's possible that you all will say, go ahead with this.
Not
And then
before the town meeting.
you're still gonna make.
It's all
Okay.
subject to vote at town
Okay,
meeting.
you're staying
It's
with
not,
that. I wasn't sure about that.
we don't have an additional 13,000 or 14,000 or whatever we decide on the budget.
That's what I was wondering. So you leave it subject to a vote at town meeting with adjusted numbers. What you're talking about voting on is the timing of this. Whether you go ahead and do it immediately if it goes, or if it's part of the library package, even if the library is successful, you may want to have that done first.
Well, I think it's a two-step process here. First, we're gonna award a bid subject to the town meeting, but I think we have to decide how we're gonna tell the winning bidder what the
Yeah.
conditions are. And if the conditions are, you're gonna, it might vary what they do according to what Bowen or whoever's doing the library construction, what their conditions might be. So I think there's some more talk once we
Okay.
make that move.
Go ahead.
Was the septic design included in that $30,000 figure, or would you do that outside of that 30,000? I'm just curious.
We've
The
already done
septic
it.
design was done
It was
last
done
year.
outside the-
Yes, yeah.
So that was not factored into the 30,000?
No, it's already bought and paid for in
It is.
2017.
Right.
Good bids, that's nice news.
Yeah,
That goes well for other things.
well, yeah.
Okay, we'll move on with our agenda. Chief, come on down. How you doing? Happy Monday.
So currently for 2018, we've had 34 fire calls, 24 EMS calls, 0 service calls, 1 special detail for 59 total for the year, 3 gas furnace inspections, 2 oil burner inspections, 3 wood or pellet stove inspections, 0 life safety for 9 total. The tabletop exercise in conjunction with the Carroll County Coalition for Public Health that we talked about in the last Selectmen's meeting. It's going to be held at the Central Fire Station February 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the following agencies have been invited. It's Lake Region Visiting Nurses Association, Central New Hampshire Visiting Nurses, and Hospice, Huggins Hospital, Genesis Healthcare, Wolfboro Bay Rehab, Tuftonboro PD, Wolfboro PD, and FD, Carroll County Sheriff's Office, EMD reps from Wakefield, Brookfield, and the person in charge is going to be Jeff Jones, who's the coordinator for the Carroll County Coalition for Public Health. And anyone that's looking for information on that, we'll be going over the pod setup, which is point of distribution. If we had some type of large incident that we needed to distribute medications such as a flu pandemic or something along that lines, that's basically what it's going to be going over. Only it's not going to be in real life, it's going to be a tabletop exercise. And the reason why all these agencies have been involved because our area includes Wolfboro and includes Brookfield, Wakefield, in those particular areas. And if the selectmen, if there's someone that wants to be available just to see what's going on, that would be terrific. The fishing derby this year was really quiet. We had no responses for the airboat, and I think that's probably one of two reasons. One, people were more aware this year, and two, the ice was really thick. Besides some areas that reefs and bubblers and stuff like that, which is great news.
Now, which is great, but I have noticed, I'm aware that there are at least a couple of vehicles that have gone through the ice on the lake this year. So even though we have thicker ice in general, anybody that ventures out in a vehicle on the ice needs to always be aware that because of pressure ridges and currents and that sort of thing, there are always weak spots in the ice.
Yep. I would suggest that people, test as they go, and if you're going to be out there, especially if you're going to be out there alone or at any point in time, have some type of flotation, because that seems what gets most people is obviously the cold gets you suddenly, and then you're not able to swim out.
It's not gonna last long anyway.
No, not at all. Engine 4 will be going to Lakes Region Fire to get an estimate on its passenger side cab. Pictures. It was on one of the ice storms that we had in the snow. It was going down into Elm Point at 2 a.m. in the morning, and after the call, it was backing out. The rear tires broke free, and it slid over into a tree that was really close to the road. We only had 2 personnel that were with that engine at that point in time, and so they took the bigger truck instead of the 4-wheel drive vehicle, because they didn't know what they were going to be facing when they got down into the call. And then a third member came out eventually and brought the rescue down and helped them do a little bit of sanding in the area to get it out. It's very minor, and it was very slow speed, obviously, as far as it goes, but it's something that the guy needs to be fixed on the truck to just make sure that everything is in working order on it.
This was an insured event,
And it could be.
so.
I gotta get an estimate to see if it's,
Right.
even at the
Deductible.
threshold for that. So for now on, we're going to respond out with the rescue, and we've done this quite a few calls in the past month, as far as taking the rescue down in onto the really small roads and with the 4-wheel drive, and keeping the bigger trucks staging until they're found that they either can return or have to respond down in and get committed into the different roads and things like that. The septic system at Mirror Lake was not frozen. It was found that we ended up having an electrical problem. We had a breaker that had popped
On the pump.
on the pump, and that was a really easy fix and up and running. The department has transported a total of 5 times since the beginning of the year with the ambulance. We have the billing component in place for quick med claims. We have transported for various reasons. 1, Stewart's unit had mechanical breakdown. 2, the Stewart's unit traveled to the wrong area in town, which was a delay in its arrival. The patient was being treated in the ambulance already, and his condition worsened, and the decision was made to transport. There was a patient that was in an unsafe location in the middle of the travel lane on Tuftonboro Neck Road after falling, and needed paramedic care for pain control. We were at the paramedic level, and the ambulance ended up transporting for Stewart's arrival. And the other issues were multiple calls going on at the same time, Stewart's was diverted to the other calls, and our ambulance transported ×2. As the chairman of the Ospey Valley Mutual Aid, I'd like to update the selectmen in reference to the status so far with the sheriff's communication grants. The county had received phase 1 of a grant for $349,995, and that was approximately 2 years ago. This phase replaced outdated dispatch toning consoles and radios in the dispatch center. Phase 2 of the grant that was approved and hasn't been expended yet was $4,444. This will be used to improve the current repeater sites throughout the county for police, fire, and EMS, currently dependent on a daily basis, and it has significant issues. Phase 3 that we've been working with is the third phase was asking for $1.3 million, for which would complete the build out of the different tower sites for a votive repeater system for simulcast. This is a lot of money and not looking good for approval. The current Sheriff Dominic Ricciardi and his staff have been working very hard to secure funds that will be used to make our county's radio system safer and more reliable for police, fire, and EMS. We've had several meetings and the different agencies, and I'm sure that you remember doing letters for these particular grants to try to secure them. If I hear anything further on the third phase, I will be sure to let you know as soon as that happens. I do have.
I have some information on the third phase.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chief. Go ahead.
So there's only $1.2 million to give out throughout the state. So 1.3 was more than what was available for everybody. But there were a number of, I'm on the committee, but I had to abstain from that vote, obviously. But the sheriff was there and explained it could be done in kind of a partial phase, along with the vendor for $540,000, which updates some of the receivers anyway, so they can, the county would have to probably come up with the rest for to finish out the simulcast. So it was awarded $540,000 for the third phase.
Isn't part of that privately owned? The towers and that sort of thing?
Well, some of the
towers.
towers that we're looking at being replaced are on county property, and they're looking at moving it to a higher location on county property. Some of our towers that are currently, say, leased or we pay monthly for, yes, they are privately owned, but there's no tower work going to be done on them. They're going to be changing.
So this is all stuff that's.
Yeah, it's all stuff that's hanging on the towers and radios and stuff that are